Hello everyone and welcome to the sixth lecture in the series of lecture on semiconductor memories. In the first five lectures we talked about the importance of semiconductor memories, trends in semiconductor memories, different types of semiconductor memories and ability of semiconductor memories to have the random access. Then we talked about masked ROM, we talked about NOR ROM, we talked about NAND ROM. We talked about the circuitry required to access this cell, row decoder and the column decoder. In the next lecture, we talked about SRAM cell, that is static random access memory. We saw configurations of SRAM cell, resistive load inverter SRAM cell, depletion load inverter SRAM cell, and CMOS SRAM cell. Then we concluded that CMOS SRAM cell is most efficient power, uh, in terms of power consumption, and in terms of noise margins. Then we saw the circuitry required for accessing this cell. We saw the read circuit, we saw write circuit, we saw sense amplifier. We also talked about the design strategy of CMOS SRAM cell. We saw a stick diagram and mask layout for SRAM cell. Today we are going to continue our discussion with random access memory, and we are going to talk about dynamic random access memory. In SRAM cell, which is the CMOS SRAM cell, there are 6 transistors used for one cell. To store 1 bit, we need 6 transistors. Along with this 4 transistors for implementing 2 inverters and 2 transistors as access switch. Along with this 6 transistors, we also need 2 bit line, that is 2 column lines, 1 word line, VDD, ground. So it consumes a lot of area for storing single bit. And as a trend in the semiconductor memories, people started working on the memories with the larger density. Even the design criteria, the first design criteria that we saw is cost per bit, or in other words, the number of bits that can be stored per unit area. So people were trying on that. So they came up with an idea of storing the data in terms of charge on the capacitance, and that's the working principle of dynamic RAM. So in dynamic RAM, the data is stored in the form of charge on the capacitor. So based on the presence or absence of the charge on the capacitance, it is interpreted as either 0 or 1. But there is one property of capacitance that due to the leakage, the charge on the capacitor or capacitor start discharging after some time. So because of this, it needs a periodic refresh. Like SRAM cell, it also needs read circuitry, write circuitry, but additionally it also needs refresh circuitry. So the aim was to reduce the area requirement for a single cell. So in DRAM, there are 3 to 4 different type of configuration which are used, which give us lesser area requirement, but then we need additional refresh circuitry. But even though the additional circuitry is required for this read, write and refresh, still the advantage of having a smaller area for a single cell is not overshadowed by this requirement of area for the refresh circuitry. So we have higher integration density for dynamic RAM. Once the charge is stored on the capacitance, we don't have to consume, or it does not consume power for preserving this charge. Hence, static power dissipation is almost zero. Or in other words, we can say that the current does not flow from VDD to ground when there is no read or write operation. Hence, static power dissipation is almost zero. Then we see three configurations of DRAM cell. These three configurations are actually gives tells us about different stages of uh, evolution of DRAM cell. So the first cell here you can see it has four transistor, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was derived from 6 transistor SRAM cell. So instead of this inverter to load devices, there is a cross couple connection of this transistor. So it gives us a very minor advantage in terms of area over a 60 SRAM cell. Hence, this was never widely used or never practically used in the implementation of DRAM cell. But then it got evolved into another configuration which has three transistors. So it is known as 3 transistor or 3T DRAM cell. Here, two transistors are used as access transistor, and this one transistor is used to store the charge or store the data into it. After this, again, it was used in the implementation of DRAM cell, but then it got evolved into another circuitry or another configuration which has only one transistor and one capacitor. And if you observe here, it has only two lines. One is for read or write or for access, and second is for data input or data output. So with the use of this, the requirement of area got reduced drastically as compared to 6-tree SRAM cell. So this is a popular configuration for the implementation of DRAM cell. Now there is one thing we should observe here. You can see here the storage capacitances which are there in 4T, that is 4 transistor DRAM cell, or 3T, that is 3 transistor DRAM cell, are junction parasitic capacitances. So here you can see it's a combination of junction capacitance and other parasitic capacitances. But in case of 1T DRAM cell, we have to explicitly fabricate a capacitor to store the charge. So here there are parasitic storage capacitor, but in case of 1T DRAM cell, we have explicit storage capacitor. That is something worth noting here. Now let's talk about 3T DRAM cell. Let's look at the circuit first. Now the selected area, the rectangular area, the area or the uh, part which has been highlighted by this rectangle is nothing but a 3T DRAM cell like we have seen here. Is the same circuit or the same configuration over here, 3T DRAM cell. Here M3, gate of the M3, gate input of M3 is connected to row select. So this is row select, but it is used for read operation. So it is read select. It's also called as read select. M1 is the gate of M1 is connected to WS. Again, it is a row select but used for the write operation. So it is called as write select. That means M1 and M3 acts as a switch, one for read operation and another for write operation. Whereas M2 is used, M2 along with C1 is used to store bit in the cell. Now you can see here there are two columns. One is called as data in column and another is called as data out column. So like 60 SRAM cell, there were two columns. One was column C and another was column C bar. So those were complement of each other. So these were complementary column. But here these are not complementary column, but one is data in column and another is data out column. At the bottom of this data in column, you can see a transistor whose gate is connected to data bar signal. So the data which need to be returned to this cell can be applied at the input of this transistor, but in the complementary form. And there are two precharge transistors. Two NMOS transistors are used for precharging, and they are activated by using a precharge signal. So each column So such columns have number of cells connected between them. So the total capacitance of columns, this data in column and data out column, is very high, and it is represented with C2 and C3 respectively. Now let's talk about the operation of this DRAM cell. So operation of 3T DRAM cell is controlled by two non-overlapping clock signals, phi 1 and phi 2. So phi 1 is used for precharging, and phi 2 is used for read or write operation. So here this precharge signal is representing phi 1. So 1, 3, 5, 7, these cycle represent precharge signal, whereas 2, 4, 6, 8 represent read or writes operation. Every read or write operation uh, must be followed by precharge operation. So let's see about what happens in the during the precharge cycle or precharge operation. During precharge operation, this PC is 1. As PC becomes 1, both precharge transistor MP1 and MP2 are turned on. So they provide a small resistance path, or in other words, we can consider them, they provide a short circuit over here. So because of this, the voltage of this capacitor increases, and for the normal transistor with Vt is equal to 1 volt, that is threshold equal to 1 volt and VDD equal to 5 volt, approximately 3.5 volt is the charge, or is the voltage carried by these two capacitors C2 and C3. So we can say that when there is no read or write operation, data in and data out, both these columns carry voltage close to VDD, approximately 3.5 volt. Now let's look at the write 1 operation. So for write 1 operation, 1 is first returned to is provided to the data signal. So data bar becomes 0. As data bar becomes 0, this transistor is turned off. As this transistor is turned off, so there is no path for this capacitor to discharge through the ground. Hence, it maintains its pre-charge voltage, that is 3.5 volts. In general, we can say that close to VDD. Now, for write operation, WS becomes 1, whereas read select remains 0. As read select is 0, this M3 is turned off, and as WS is 1, M1 is turned on. Now let's assume that basically the circuit looks like this. So these are active transistor. M1 is active transistor, and the rest of the transistors are inactive in this circuit. Now during a write operation, we know that this bit or the column has the VDD voltage closer to VDD, and M1 provides a small resistance path for this capacitor. So the C1 is charged by voltage on C2 via M1. Because this column has very high voltage, that is represented by C2, that means capacitor has voltage closer to VDD, and this there is a short between this C1 and C2, so they are connected in parallel. That's why the C1 is charged through M1. So in this way, 1 is stored on this capacitor. Okay. So that's about write 1 operation. This is how 1 is stored in terms of, or in the form of charge on the capacitor C1. So when the capacitor is charged, that means 1 is stored. So now because of this, while charging this capacitor C1, voltage on the capacitor C2 dropped by a small value. So it need to be brought back to its original value. That's why it is followed by a pre-charge cycle. in this during the pre-charge, voltage of these both columns, data in and data out, is brought back to its previous value or pre-charge value, that is 3.5. Now let's talk about read one operation. So in read one operation, Ws is equal to 0 and Rs is equal to 1. So M1 is off, M2 is on. Now because capacitor is storing 1, that's why it is charged, and that means uh, logic high is applied to the input of gate input of this M2, so M2 is also on. So the circuit looks like this. M1 is off, and because capacitor is carrying higher voltage or closer to VDD, that's why M2 is on and M3 is on. And hence here you can see there is a small resistance path to the ground. So for this capacitor, which is representing the total capacitance of this data in, so data in was carrying 3.5 volt. That means the voltage on this capacitance VC3 is 3.5 volt. Now it finds a small resistance path to the ground, that means it is shorted to the ground. So it starts discharging through M3 and M2. So the voltage at this bit line or voltage at this on this capacitor starts dropping. So it is closer to 0. Now when it drops, it is interpreted as logic 1. So conventionally when the voltage drop, we consider it logic 0, but here the read circuit is designed in such a way that it interpreted as logic 1. So you can say that it is read in the complement form. So this is how read one operation is carried out. Then again the pre-charge happen, then the write 0. So during write 0, data is 0, so data bar is 1. So this is on. So the voltage on this column is voltage on this capacitor C2 or voltage of this column is drops to 0. So here we have 0. Now during the write operation, W is equal to 1, read select equal to 0. As W is equal to 1, this is on, this is off, right? So the circuit looks like this, and because of this, the voltage on this capacitance is 0, closer to 0. But whereas a voltage on this capacitance C1, it is carrying some voltage. Let's say it was previously storing 1. So now this capacitor and M1 is on, right? So capacitors start discharging to the ground because it finds a path for discharging. So it discharges through M1. So now it stores basically 0 because the capacitor start discharging. Capacitor discharges, so it stores 0 now. So earlier it was storing 1, now it got changed to 0. So this is write 0 operation. Then again pre-charge cycle occurs, so voltage of both the columns is brought back to their pre-charge value, that is 3.5. Then read 0. So during read 0, this is 1 and this is 0. So this is off and this is on. So the circuit looks like this. Because now C2 is carrying 0 volts, so this capacity, this M2 is also off. Now this data in column, or sorry, data out column has voltage 3.5, closer to 3.5. It need see, in our discussion we are always saying 3.5. It need not to be 3.5. It can be any value closer to VDD. For sake of simplicity, we are saying it 3.5, but it need not to be 3.5 always. It depends upon a lot of factors. It depends upon the parameters by using which the transistor is fabricated. It depends upon VDD and a lot of other values as well. But in this case, we are talking about it is having the higher voltage which is closer to VDD. But now it does not have any path because M2 is off to discharge. So it retains its value, that is, it retains logic 1. Now its read circuitry is, like we have said, it reads it in the complement form, so it is interpreted as 0. So it interpreted as logic 0. So this is how read 0 is performed. So that's about 3T DRAM cell. Now one thing we have to recollect again, I want to reiterate this thing, that C1 here is a junction capacitor of M2. It is a parasitic capacitance and it is not explicitly fabricated. That's something we have to remember. Now let's talk about 1T DRAM cell, another configuration or the most popular configuration of DRAM cell. So it basically consists of one access transistor M1 and a capacitor which stores the charge. The access transistor is controlled by row select, which is used for both read and write operation, and data is given to the capacitor by a data in or data out column. Now such number of cells are connected to the same column, and hence its capacitance is large and it is represented by this column capacitance C2. Typically capacitance of C2 is of uh, one order higher of one order higher magnitude as compared to C1. Value of this explicitly connected capacitance C1 is in the range of 30 to 100 femtofarad. In the data write operation is very straightforward. So the cell is selected by activating this row select signal, and then data input carries 1. So if let's say we want to write 1. So because this row select is 1, so gate input of M1 goes high, so M1 is on, and if data input line carries 1, so the voltage or the higher voltage is connected to C1, so capacitor charges through it. And if it already carrying 1, and now if you want to write 0, so when it carries 0, the capacitor discharges through it. So now this is how the 0 is stored. So it's very straightforward and very easy operation. But data read is not that straightforward. We'll see this data read when we see refresh operation, but in data read this is selected as 1, and so because of this is activated, so this is on, and suppose it is carrying 1. Now when this is carrying 1, so this transistor is on, so this capacitor now discharges through this. As it discharges through this, the voltage on this capacitor increases by small amount, and this increase is interpreted as logic 1. If it is carrying 1, then this increments its voltage on this capacitor column capacitor increases by a very small amount, and it is interpreted as logic 1. Now one thing we should note here, that the capacitor was carrying 1, that means it was charged, but during read operation it loses charge on it, so the read cycle or the read operation is destructive. Let's consider it was earlier carrying 0, and during a read operation this is 1, so this is on. Now the column capacitance which was pre-charged to 3.5 value as it is done in rest of the circuits. So here this capacitance C2 discharges through this. As it discharges through this, it charges C1, hence voltage on C1 increases, so it may be interpreted as logic 1. That means during read operation, like we have discussed, it may lose the data, so the read operation is destructive, and to avoid losing data we have to perform a refresh operation on this. So next operation operation is refresh operation. Now there is one more possibility, that by virtue of which C1 can lose its data because of the leakage current. Because of the leakage current of M1, C1 may lose the data, and hence we have to carry out the refresh operation on this cell. Refresh operation, this circuit shows the refresh operation, how it is carried out. But the refresh operation of a DRAM cell consists of 3 phases. First phase is pre-charge phase, second phase is read phase, and third phase is refresh phase. Now here, let's consider an example. Let's consider a connection which consists of 256 rows. So to understand this diagram, actually it is drawn 90-degree rotated manner because this is what the column is. This is column. So this represents one column, right? Like in this diagram, this column is represented by this, and this is row. These are rows. Uh, uh, sorry, which is represented by this row select. So I'll make some arrangements so that it will be easier for us to imagine. The circuit actually is oriented like this. So this is column, and these are different rows. You can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, such 256 rows are there. Now there will be another column. There will be the rows are continued again. So for we know that for DRAM cell, 1T DRAM cell, there is only one column. So this is how array is used. So this is an array for. So there will be another column after this. There could be another column. There could be another column here. Okay. Now here you can see the column is divided into two parts. So this is second half, and this is first half. Okay. Now let's go back to our orientation again, original orientation again. So one thing you have to remember: this is what this is column, and these are rows. Now the column here you can see. Let's talk about the circuit first. The column here is divided into two halves. So if we are considering a 256 row configuration, so it is divided into half of 128 rows each. Okay, so here you can see R1 to R0, R1 to R128 and R129 to R256. So the rows are the column is divided into half. As the column is divided into half, the charge of this column is also divided into half. The capacitance of this column is also divided into half. So these two capacitances of this half column and this half column are equal, and they are represented by CD and CD bar. The voltage on these capacitances or the data stored in these cells can be read by using a cross-coupled latch. We'll see how this works, but this is a cross-coupled latch. There are two pre-charge columns or two pre-charge transistors which are controlled by PC signal. The same PC signal also controls these two transistors. On the both half column side, there are two dummy cells. So one dummy cell on the left hand side here you can see, and there is another dummy cell on this right hand side. Now the capacitor used in this dummy cell is half of the storage capacitor. So we know that the storage capacitor is in the range of 30 femtofarad to 100 femtofarad. So half of that is used in this dummy cell. The use of this dummy cell is very important in the read operation. We'll see, right? So that's about the circuit configuration. Now here you can see there is a pre-charge cycle, and there is another cycle which is non-overlapping with this pre-charge cycle. These two signals are there which are non-overlapping, and they are used for the pre-charge and read operation. So in the refresh operation, the first phase is pre-charge. So during pre-charge, so remember this is the pre-charge, so this is the first, and during pre-charge you can see none of the signal goes high or low, right? So during pre-charge, only pre-charge operation is carried out, no other signal goes high. So this is one thing worth remembering. So let's see what happens in the pre-charge operation. So during pre-charge operation, PC becomes 1 and all the row selects are 0. So all these are off, which are shown with the dotted diagram. And this dummy signal is also off, so which is again shown with the dotted line. So all the uh, all the devices which are on are shown with the solid line, and the rest of the things are shown with the dotted line. So the CS transistor is also off. Now here, as precharge is 1, this transistor is on, this transistor is on, and then you can see this transistor is also on. So both of these are shorted. So both of them carry equal voltage, which is VDD, or closer to VDD, right? Now these capacitors are charged with this voltage, VDD. Both these capacitors are charged with this voltage. Now this thing is worth remembering, that during pre-charge, voltage on CD capacitor and CD bar capacitor is equal. There's one more thing here, because this pre-charge signal, both these transistors of the dummy cell are on. So here voltage, it is connected to ground, or X node and Y node are connected to ground. So the charge on this capacitor is 0. So this is about the pre-charge operation. So we talked about this. Now the next phase is read phase. So let's see the read phase here. So for read phase, you can see here row select must be high. So in this case, we'll consider a read operation on R128. So during read operation, a particular cell is turned on, and dummy signal or dummy cell of the opposite side is turned on. So in this case, dummy cell on the right hand side is turned on, because a cell on the left hand side is turned on. So here dummy cell on the right hand side is turned on. So let's look at the uh, read operation on R128. So here during the read operation, this is on, so this is selected because we have to perform a read operation on the signal. So this is on, and this is also on. Whereas this precharge is off, so these are off, all the rest of the transistors are off. Now we know that these capacitors were carrying, these capacitors, both these capacitors CD and CD1 were carrying equal voltage, which is closer to VDD. Now let's consider that this capacitor stores 1, or this cell stores 1. Because this stores 1, so obviously the charge, because this is on, so this capacitor will try to share its charge with this column, or this column capacitance, and voltage on this capacitance will increase. Also, this DS bar is on, and because of it, this transistor is on. So this capacitor, you have to remember that that is C2, C by 2, were uh, pulled to the ground during the pre-charge. So now they do not carry charge. Now this half column carries some charge. So this is used to charge this capacitor C by 2. So if this is 1, so it will use the charge stored on this C to to increase the voltage on these capacitors. And because of this dummy cell is on, so charge on this capacitor is pulled down, or voltage on this capacitor is pulled down, because it tries to charge in C by 2. Now here you can see voltage on this capacitor increases, and voltage on this capacitor decreases by small value. Now read circuitry interpret this as logic 1. So this is how logic 1 can be read. Now let's assume that now this is the second case. So first case we saw that one was stored. In the second case, and in first case what happened? VCD increased and VCD bar decreased. Now let's see what happens if we try to read 0. Now the 0 is stored here, that means this capacitor does not carry any charge. So as the capacitor does not carry any charge, so during the read operation we know that this will be activated. So this will be shorting this capacitor with this. So it was carrying VDD, some value close to VDD, we consider it to be 3.5. Now this also carrying some voltage VDD. Now here, because this capacitor is carrying 0 voltage and this capacitor is carrying value closer to VDD, now this capacitor will try to charge this capacitor through this R128 transistor, because this transistor is on, so it provides short resistance path. So because of this, the capacitor will try to charge this, and because of this, the value of capacitor will decrease. So in this case, we can say that when we are trying to read 0, BCD decreases. But on the dummy node side, VS is on. So this is on. So this is on. So again this also tries to this capacitor. This also tries to charge this capacitor. Right. So VCD bar also drops. But now here this capacitor VCD or the CD is trying to charge capacitance of value C, and this capacitor is trying to charge capacitance value C by 2. So hence the voltage drop of VCD bar and VCD is different. Both are dropping, but the voltages are different. Hence it is interpreted as logic 0. In case of logic 1, VCD was increasing and VCD was dropping. So it was interpreted as logic 1 by read circuitry. But in case of 0, both are dropping. VCD drops by larger value, which is interpreted by logic 0. So this is how read operation is carried out. So this is the second phase of the refresh operation. And the third phase is refresh operation. So in this case, because we know that the read operation is destructive, so we have to write it back to the same sale. If we are reading 0, then it might use 0 and it may gain some charge. So we have to clear that charge. But we have to remember one thing, because it reads in the complement form. So while writing it back during the refresh operation, we have to write complement value. So first we read complement and rewrite during the refresh cycle. So during refresh cycle, C is equal to 1, PC is 0, all these transistors are off. Now the selected row is on. So row select of this on. Both dummy signals are off. Now we know that if it is earlier storing 0, now this circuit acts as the sense amplifier. If it was storing 0, then the voltage is drop, voltage is small. And here if it is storing 0, that means it drops, but it drops by larger value, because its capacitance like we have seen here. Like we have seen here, capacitance C by 2 during the read operation, and here the capacitance was C. So voltage drop is larger on this side when it is reading 0, and it is smaller on this side. So the same thing is used here. So here we know that the voltage drop on this side is larger, and voltage smaller, and voltage on this side is larger. And because of this, this turns transistor on. As this transistor on. So it is, and the CS is 1. So it is pulled to the ground. So it is 0 again. So even if it carries some voltage, still it is dropped to 0. It still drops to 0. And because this is off, right? So anyways, no row is selected, so it doesn't matter on this side. So this is how 0 is preserved or zero is preserved in the use of refresh. Now, if it is carrying one, that means it has a small voltage on the higher side as compared to this because it drops during the read operation. And after read operation, immediately next operation is refresh operation. So this is one. So CS is one. So because of this is on. And as this voltage is little higher than right hand side, left hand side voltage is higher than right hand side. So this turns this on. This is pulled down to ground, and this is pulled down to ground. So this is off. So it retains the value one. So this is how read operation is carried out. And then the refresh operation is carried out. So this is about the refresh operation of one T DRAM cell. Now these both 3T DRAM cell and 1T DRAM cell are important concept in terms of the university question. So they need to be studied in depth because there's a these questions are likely to be asked in exam. I hope you understood this concept. So you can revise this thing. And if you have any doubt, you can post it on the WhatsApp group, Google Classroom. Thank you.